We found some crazy secrets in this update, like a caustic buff that literally nobody told us about, Respawn releasing the new cheapest heirloom ever, skin updates, new inspect animations, and more. So let's jump into it because there's some good stuff to cover, but let's start off with the flatline, because obviously we have the new flatline mythic skin, but within this update, the base flatline was actually treated to a new inspect animation as well, which is pretty cool. A lot of people did find this inspect animation because they went into the firing range to try out the road rage in its new animations, but found out the skin only applies within wildcards, so they were shown this animation instead. Also, you may be aware, at the start of Season 26, Respawn added a new hand inspect animation, which can only be activated when not sprinting and then inspecting your hands, but Respawn recently updated it. They only updated it slightly, but they basically changed the angle you inspect your hands from. I think it was because people were doing some suggestive things with this inspect animation. I'm not too sure, but that is also changed. Congrats to the people who noticed that, because I would have never noticed that. As per tradition as well, no new Either 8 inspect animation. For some reason, it's still not being added. But what about the buff that Respawn didn't tell us about? Well, despite Caustic's pick rate dropping quite a bit because people want to check out Seer, our new #1 pick rate legend, who we will touch on later, Caustic got a secret buff that only works against his fellow Caustics, as when Season 26 released and Caustic got his mini rework, I did note that Respawn removed the Caustic passive where he won't be damaged by enemies' gas, which people were a bit upset about, saying what's the point of Caustic wearing a mask if he's still gonna get damaged by enemy gas, but I guess Respawn did it to level the playing field to all characters. Well, weirdly enough, in this mid-season update, Respawn changed the enemy gas damage again, so now Caustic does not get damaged by enemy gas. They reverted this without telling us, so we're not sure if this is a mistake or this is deliberate. And literally, you can go into any mode right now and test this. Caustic will not be damaged by enemy gas, and you can definitely surprise many enemies with this change. And I've had Caustics who won't push me because I have gas traps down. The weirdest part is, when the update came out yesterday, Respawn did release a tweet showing some more balance changes they could not fit into the patch notes, but this caustic change was not mentioned. So maybe don't get too used to this one, because it might only be a mistake. Speaking of Legend exclusive changes though, I spent so long last night trying to find a flatline mythic while playing Fuse to see if Fuse had any special inspects on it. And currently, he does not on the flatline mythic evolved version, but Respawn did post over on their Twitter an inspect animation on the non-evolved flatline mythic, where Fuse opens a drink on the bottom of the flatline, drinks it, throws it, and then shoots it. So he does have an exclusive inspect, only with the lower version of the flatline mythic. Also, this version of the flatline mythic has an inspect animation you won't be able to see on the wildcard version, and this is it. Also, this version has different reload animations, so it's pretty cool that Respawn do give you 2 variants for this weapon. I can't really argue with that. Speaking of putting value on skins, Respawn actually decided to update 2 skins that we know of with the most recent update, and they're both Loba skins actually, and in my opinion, they both make the skins look better. Let's take a look. So first, Respawn made a change to the Loba skin. Yeah, I thought we'll call this one the Loba skin. And they actually aim to make the skin look more like the Hollow Spray. So with this new update, Respawn have updated her face. Now she has green eyeshadow instead of orange eyeshadow, and she also has these really cool sparkles under her eyes, which literally make the skin several times better. In my opinion, a skin can be really good, but if the face and the hair see a minimal change, it's not really worth it. So this update is definitely for the better. The second update is to Loba's Heat Shade skin. Now, strap in for a second, because originally when the skin came out, it had this effect where parts of her clothing would lift up to show kind of an orange core, in a bit of a shaky, unstable manner, which was really cool, because it kind of looked like the suit was barely holding itself together. And then, in the next update, Respawn changed the animation on the skin, so instead of having a random slow pulsing effect, it had a whole skin breathing effect, so all of the parts of the skin lifted up at one time, and then went back down. This was a bit divisive because a lot of people liked the original. They bought the original, so why did Respawn change the effect? Also, I didn't like the fact they got rid of the unstableness of the effect. So in the newest update, it got changed again, and now it's a bit of the best of both worlds, as Respawn have reverted it back to the original unstable shaky lifting effect, but improved the effects so it's a bit more visible. So basically it's like version 1 but improved, and Respawn have kind of ditched the version 2 breathing thing for this version 3. Hopefully this is the last time this skin gets an update, otherwise it's going to be very confusing the next time I explain it. There's a lot more exciting things to talk about this season, like the fact that Seer has taken over the game, but before we talk about the pick rates and how Ashe is seeing the effects of a nerf, everybody's been asking about this pack here. I did cover it slightly yesterday and did warn people that the rare reward in this pack is not heirloom shards, but instead a random heirloom that you have no control over. You will just be given a random heirloom. And a lot of people are wondering, because this is essentially a pack that only has 20 items and one of them is a random heirloom, could this just be a really cheap way to obtain an heirloom? So I decided to work out how much it would cost to fully buy this out to guarantee a random heirloom. So the first thing that confused people is that the packs cost 100 Apex coins, but this actually uses the same system as milestone events, where the more packs you buy, the higher the price of the pack gets. So no, it's not $20 for a random heirloom. Instead, we have to calculate the slow incline of price increase, and it works out so that buying every item so you get a guaranteed random heirloom will cost 11,600 Apex coins. And when we look at the prices of Apex coins, you can actually buy 11,500 100 coins less for $100. So let's just be generous and say this would cost $100 to fully buy out. So this little pack system here is technically the cheapest path Respawn have ever offered us to an heirloom, but the heirloom is completely random and it's only legend specific heirlooms. So in fairness to people, this is the cheapest heirloom Apex have released. It's just you'll probably end up with a Rampart heirloom that you'll look at and then forget about. Let's move on to the pick rates though, because for the first time in a very long time, Ashe has been knocked down. She is no longer the most picked legend in Apex, which is very surprising, and she's actually been overtaken by Seer by a very large degree. And now before we get onto this, do be aware that the Seer updates make him kind of new and fresh, so in a few weeks when the meta calms down, Ashe may well come back into first place, but right now Seer has a 15.5% pick rate ahead of Ashe, who only has a 12.5% pick rate. Surprisingly, Maggie is just behind Ashe with a 10.7% pick rate, followed by Alta. So, the Legends with new changes got quite a nice little boost, to be completely honest with you. The Legends who got changes at season launch, aka Caustic and Bangalore, have seen a bit of a drop. Caustic's pick rate has dropped by 50% and Bangalore's by 28%, but still they're maintaining a nice little pick rate, which is pretty good, and the pick rates day by day get a lot more healthy looking. I think Ashe dropping off slowly and people picking other Legends is going to be a good thing in the long run, and I think it's good that Respawn aren't doing this by like removing Ashe's dash, but instead seeing what people enjoy about Ashe, the movement abilities, and giving movement abilities to other legends. Like Seer now has many movement abilities which make him very fun. Honestly though, for season 27, my wish list is to give Octane a bit of an update as well. Every day he drops more and more down the pick rate ladder, and it's just sad. He is meant to be the movement character, yet now Seer has more movement than Octane. Tell that to somebody a few years ago. But to keep updated with more weird stuff in Apex, you might want to subscribe.